Hello everyone, welcome to Apple Pie, and in today's video we're going to be working through unit conversion, otherwise known as dimensional analysis. So this is the math behind converting rates and speeds, for example from miles to hour to kilometers per minute. So it's essentially using the same information but putting it in a different form so that it can be used in more places, in more ways easier. So if we have another problem, another example would be gallons per minute to liters per hour, something like that. So, it's the same information, but it's being displayed in a different way so that it can be used by, other problems or whatever the case may be, that you need to have this information in a different form than you currently have it. So this is how to do that and how to do it accurately to make sure that you have the right information and that you understand what you're doing while you're doing it. So essentially the only rule you have to keep in mind when you're doing dimensional analysis problems is that your conversion factors all have to be equal to 1. It doesn't matter how many you use or what order they're in, as long as they're all equal to 1, your arithmetic won't be messed up and you'll have the correct answer going through the entire problem. So for our first problem, let's convert 30 miles per hour into kilometers per hour. So in this case, you'll see we're only converting one of our units. We're only going from miles to kilometer, we're not changing hours to years or something like that. So because of this, we're only really going to need one conversion factor, and that's the one between miles and kilometers. So we know that we're going to need to end up with kilometers on top, so we can actually write our fraction so that the units will cancel the same way that numbers will. So essentially, if we have miles on top at the beginning of the problem, if we write a new fraction now with miles on the bottom and kilometers on the top, then we can cancel out the units the same way that we would a number. So let's write a conversion factor. Of course, remember, it has to be equal to 1 with kilometers on top and miles on the bottom. So the correct answer for that would be if we use 1.61 kilometers over 1 mile as our factor. So if we write that there, you can see that we can cancel out miles, of course, the same way. So if we cancel out the 2 miles, we're left with just kilometers on top and hours on bottom for our units, which is exactly what we want. So once we have our units figured out like this, we can essentially do the same math that we would in any other multiplication of fraction problems, and we can get 30 times 1.61 is divided by 1 times 1 equals our answer. So if we just do the arithmetic here, we have 30 times 1.61 comes out to 48.3, and that will be our answer in kilometers per hour because we already took care of the units. Okay, let's try a slightly more complicated problem here. Let's convert 10 grams per minute into quarts per hour. So this would be a water pressure speed, I suppose, but anyway, so here's how we do this. So we know that our end units, we want to have hours on the bottom. So we need to write a conversion factor with hours on bottom, and our other unit we're trying to convert is from minutes, so minutes on top. And the balanced conversion factor for that would be 60 minutes over 1 hour. And then our other unit, which is quarts, has to be on top. So we have quarts on top of our fraction, and gallons will be on bottom. And the accurate conversion factor for that is 4 over 1. So then if we cancel out our units as we can, then set up the multiplication across the top there, 10 times 60 times 4 divided by 1 times 1 times 1. Our answer comes out to be, after we do the arithmetic, 2,400 quarts per hour is the correct answer. So for this next problem, let's convert seconds per minute, 60 seconds per minute into seconds per day. So for this problem, we can see that we're only going to be needing to convert minutes to days, but that's kind of a hard factor to know right off the top of our head. So instead of converting minutes to days, let's convert minutes to hours to days to slow that conversion down a little bit so it's more manageable. So in this case, we need to get a few different conversion factors. We need 60 seconds per 1 minute, and then we're going to go 60 minutes over 1 hour, and then 24 hours over 1 day, so that we can multiply these across. If you look at how I set these up here, you can see pretty clearly that we're going to cross out the minutes and the hours right away and be left with just seconds per day in the end. So, and also, of course, we have to check that all 3 of these conversion factors are equal to 1, and they are, so we can proceed to use them in our problem. So now that we have our conversion factors, let's put those together and multiply them. So we can see that our units are going to cancel out, minutes to minutes and hours to hours, so we're going to be left with seconds per day, and at this point all we have left to do is just multiply the numbers themselves. So 60 times 24 divided by 1 times 1 times 1, which brings us to our answer of 86,400 seconds are in 1 day. Thank you all very much for watching this episode of Apple Pie. This is our second video ever, so it really means a lot to us when you guys, help us out and support us, watch our videos. If you have any questions about something you didn't fully understand on our video, go ahead and leave that question below in the comments, and we'll get to that right away as soon as we can to help you guys out. There are some questions having to do with dimensional analysis in chemistry, There's some stuff you can do with moles and molar masses, and there's a lot of the same kind of techniques that you use, but of course moles are kind of a different story that we haven't touched on yet. We are going to get a video out on those pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. In fact, subscribe to our channel if you want to get notified every time we post a new video. We have a Facebook page you can check out. Lots of ways to stay in contact with us, and thank you all very much for watching.